Hey, I'm Jonny May and welcome to this video where I'm going to show you how I can play just about any song in any style. In fact, if you came up to me and you said, "Hey Johnny, can you play Mary Had a Little Lamb, but I want you to do it in a 1940s jazz big band style." Sure, I could do it. Or if you said, "Could you do it as a Bossa Nova, kind of a Latin style?" Sure. Or if you said, "Could you do it in a blues style?" Absolutely. Okay, and you might be thinking, "Johnny, how do you do this? Is this a magic trick?" And my friends, it is not a magic trick. The way that I'm able to do this is that I have something called rhythmic blueprints. And this is something that I can use if I just want to play a song in a particular style. I can instantly plug and play this rhythmic blueprint or this rhythmic template to creating that style for that song. And so I want to show you this today because it's actually really simple. You can get started right away doing this if you understand these blueprints because they are plug and play and they work across just about any song. Okay, so let's dive right in. We're going to use the tune Mary Had a Little Lamb. It's a simple tune, so anyone can get started. Even if you're a total beginner, you should be able to understand how to do it on the tune. Okay, the tune's very simple. Mary Had a Little Lamb. We're going to play it in the key of C, right? You can make this like a C6 chord if you wanted to jazz it up. And then we go to like a G7, right? And then you go to like a C, right? Super simple. Then you keep going. Okay, you should know this melody. It's very simple. And then G7, right, to C. Okay, so it's a very basic chord progression. It's a good tune to get started if you want to play songs in styles and you want to learn the formulas for these styles. Okay, you ready to learn the first style? The first one is the jazz swing style, okay? And it's one of my favorite styles because it brings back the 1940s, the big band. And so if I want to get the jazz swing style or that big band sound, there's a couple things that I do. The first thing is I walk a bass line. So instead of just playing like a C chord in the left hand, I walk a bass line using the notes from the C major scale. So you take that C and you walk it. And I'm basically walking the notes up on a C major scale. Okay, you can come up, you can come down, okay? If you're playing a C chord, that's how you walk a bass line. And then I switch between the chords. So I walk up, right, okay. Here I go to a really cool chord called an A7 chord, okay? It's a 6 chord, and then I go, basically it's like a D minor, and I'm just walking right into the G chord, like that. You see that? And I'm using all notes from the C scale, okay? So it's very simple. Right? And then in my right hand, I'm just adding some harmonies to my melody. So my first chord, Mary had, right? I go, Mary, I'm just making it a C6 chord. It's really simple, okay? And then I go, Mary had a little, that's a C6, and then lamb. I do a kind of a colorful A7, like that. And I just take that root and I make it a 9, okay? So these are some of the characteristics of the jazz swing style. The most important thing is the walking bass line. That is what will establish the sound of jazz swing music. And when people hear it, they're gonna go, "Oh, that's that 1940s big band sound." And then in the right hand, you just color some of your chords. Yeah, you see it? And then little lamb, right? It's a D minor 7 to my G chord. Okay? And these are the basics of the jazz swing style. Walk that bass line, color some of your chords. You also want to swing it, right? So you're going to go, ba, da, 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 right? You want that sound in your playing, okay? That is the jazz swing style. Next, I'm going to show you how to do Bossa Nova, but before we do this, if you're enjoying this lesson, please hit the like button, and if you're new to the channel and you want to see more videos like this, we love talking about improvisation, lead sheets, how to play by ear, how to play for fun. It's not super focused on theory, right? You're going to have fun at the piano. So this is all about styles. And again, this is a plug and play technique, right? I can take that walking bass line and I can use it on like any song, okay? What if you want to do Bossa Nova, okay? Bossa Nova is a Latin style. You'll oftentimes hear this played with, nylon string guitars and maybe a singer singing very straight tone. And so you can emulate this bossa nova sound at the piano, and this all starts from the left hand. Okay, so I'm playing, the tune, but I'm establishing this bossa nova groove. That is your bossa nova. It's basically taking my C chord and I'm going root to fifth, to root to fifth, okay? And then you do this on all of your chords. Right, I go to a 6 chord there, right? You see it? And then I go to a 2 chord, right? And I'm just changing chords and I'm using that rhythm. Boom, 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 right? And I'm just changing the chords. And then in the right hand, I do the same thing as the jazz swing style. I'm basically just harmonizing some of my chords. See that? So they're very similar to the jazz swing chords. You see that? And then Mary had, it's like a G7 with a sus. And then little, there it is, little, it's a C major 7. You see that? And I'm just putting like a 9 in there to color it. That's it. And then on the next chord, right, I'm just using these 4 note voicings in my right hand. Okay, so once again, these styles are relatively simple when you learn the basic construct. Remember, the construct starts with the left hand. The left hand is the rhythmic driver of the style. As soon as you establish that left hand bass line, the listener will say, ah, that is Latin, that is bossa nova, okay? And they're gonna wanna pour a margarita while they're at it, okay? So those are the 2 styles. Let's go on to the jazz ballad style, okay? What if you wanna do something very beautiful? Perhaps, maybe you wanted to play in a club or something, or some kind of lounge, and you want it to sound really beautiful. Right? How do you get that sound? Well, it is a beautiful, soft sound. And once again, the style, right, this blueprint, this rhythmic template is going to start with your left hand, okay? And so what you want to establish with this sound is you're going to grab the root, but instead of just grabbing the root, I'm harmonizing it with 1 more note, okay? So I usually put the 5th in if it's low, and then I come up to usually a 2 or 3 note voicing, okay? So this is like a very colorful C chord. I've got a 6 and a 9 in there. And then on the 5 chord, on a G7, I also harmonize this, you see it? And then I'll usually grab the 3rd and the 7th of the chord. Okay, it's a G7. And this is kind of the general formula as I'm jumping, like this, right? And it kind of establishes that sound. Hear it? It's not very hard to play. There's not a lot of notes, you just need to understand the basic groove there. And then in the right hand, I'm just coloring some of the notes, right? See that? Ooh, we're getting a little fancy here. These are some passing chords. D7, right? This is D7 sus4, and then this has like a flat 13, and then I go to a G7 like this, okay? Now we're not gonna get crazy into all of the passing chords here. That is kind of a separate technique. You can learn more about passing chords in our course. We have a really good course on called Passing Chords and Reharmonization. But what I really want to drill into your head right here is, how do you get style? How do you get the sound of a style? Well, it comes from the left hand, right? We're establishing that basic groove, and then the right hand, you're usually just kind of filling. You're just adding some nice harmony notes. See the right hand? I'm basically just playing the melody, and I'm usually adding like 2 notes to it to sort of color it. And so this will establish the jazz ballad style. Okay, we're going to talk about pop in just a second. But if you do want to go deeper on learning styles, and you're curious, like, hey, how do I take a tune, like a lead sheet, and how do I like play it in, Latin styles or jazz styles or blues styles or whatever, funk or new age or soul. You can learn all of this over at pianowithjonny.com. I've actually put together what we call learning tracks, and this will take you step by step through learning each of these styles, and we put them together by your level. So if you're a beginner, we have the beginner blues learning track, or beginner funk. And if you're intermediate, we have the intermediate blues track and advanced. So we've put all of this together to master styles. It is a ton of fun. I highly recommend checking out our learning tracks. I'll put a link to a few of those below. Okay, next style is the pop style. Pop is super cool. It's very beautiful. It's very simple. That is your kind of a, it's a type of pop piano. I wouldn't say, every pop tune sounds this way, but it is definitely more in that vein. Okay, more of a flowy pop style. And so for what I'm doing here, I'm basically just breaking up my chord, okay? And once again, the rhythm, the style is going to come from that left hand, breaking up the notes of each chord. That's a C, that's a D, okay? See it? Yeah? And that's E minor to an A7. There's my chord. I'm just breaking up all the notes. See that? And then, okay? So once again, this is a rhythmic template, okay? I'm breaking up the left hand, I'm breaking up the right hand, and that forms the style. By the way, I do want to mention that the sheet music for this lesson is downloadable over at pianowithjonny.com. This is only available for our members. You can also download lots of backing tracks for our lessons, so that is a great resource if you want to take notes in the sheet music and really dissect it and get it in your fingers, okay? I do want to move you along. We've covered 4 styles. The 5th style, and honestly, I think this is the most fun style. This is the blues style, and I absolutely love this style. Okay, and I'm playing it kind of fancy, but the way I wrote it here in the sheet music is a lot simpler. And of course, I'm embellishing it. I'm not playing it exactly the way it's written in the sheet music because we're playing jazz, we're having fun, we're improvising, okay? So don't get so locked into the way it's written here, okay? It's meant to be a little bit of a guide. But with the blues style, what makes blues have its, very characteristic sound is your blues shuffle. That, okay? As soon as you start playing that, people are gonna hear that and they're gonna go, man, that is the blues through and through, and that comes from the blues shuffle, okay? Really important. So that's the basic shuffle. If the chord changes, you do the shuffle on the new chord, okay? That's it. Doesn't matter what the chord is. If the chord is an F, you're gonna play your shuffle, okay? If it's an E flat, you're gonna play your shuffle, okay? That's really key. And then in the right hand, same thing we've been doing, okay? I'm playing the melody and I'm just harmonizing it. So I'm adding a few notes. Okay? It's not very fancy. I'm just taking a C chord. I'm adding 2 notes to it, okay? It's a C7. I do a little passing chord, B flat here, and then I go back to my C7. You see it? B flat, and I do a really colorful C9, okay? It's a C7 with a 9, okay? That's it. And then on the G chord, right? Big fat G7. I'm sliding some notes there, but I'm trying to get the basic idea here to you, okay? Don't worry about the slides, don't worry about the passing chords. I just want you to laser in on what makes a style a style. It is that left hand. That's gonna matter. That's the 95%, right? A lot of people, they think, oh, it's all the right hand fancy, chords and, fills and all that. Yeah, that's nice, but what makes a style is not the fills. It's not necessarily the chords in the right hand. It's that left hand groove that drives the whole thing, okay? So these are the 5 styles, and it's really important if you want to play piano and you want to play the piano with freedom that you learn different styles, right? You do not want to get locked into always playing blues, right? That gets a little old. Or if you're just doing jazz, right? It's beautiful, but you don't want to get locked in. You want to be able to play funk. Right? You want to be able to play gospel. gospel. Right? The ability to play styles, I think, is as important as, improvising in and of itself. Meaning, if you're improvising at the piano and you're learning how to play, right? You're learning how to play cool jazz solos and that type of thing. That's great. But if you're always playing jazz swing, it's going to get boring, right? You want to be able to play different styles, because as soon as you enter that new sort of rhythmic zone, you enter the rhythmic zone of funk, man, it's like you open up a whole new world, okay? So style is really important. It's as important as learning how to solo. It's as important as learning chords and scales. And I hope you've enjoyed this lesson. I hope that this has given you a little bit of insight into what makes a style a style. And honestly, it's how I can sit down and play a song in 15 styles or 20 styles. I can do country, I can do ragtime. I can do stride. Okay, I can do boogie. Right? I have total freedom, and I hope that in this lesson I gave you a little bit of tools so that you can start to explore your own freedom at the piano. Friends, thanks for watching. If you want to go deeper, I do encourage you to check out pianowithjonny.com. We have the full online learning program for all playing levels. You can learn at your own pace. You can go deep, you can go broad. We have full-length courses. You can also go through our monthly challenges with the other members. These are short weekly videos, and we tell you exactly what to practice, so there's no guesswork at the piano. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.